Hello, and welcome to another episode of Self Improvement for Women. I am your host, Hope Long, and today I am joined by Gloria Starr. I'm so excited. I see her every Sunday. We hang out on multiple occasions, so I'm so excited about this. She is an ADHD productivity coach, and she specializes in helping us entrepreneurs who are a little bit chaotic, a little bit crazy. So, Gloria, I'm so excited you're here today.
Oh, me too. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, I'm so excited. And you do like amazing work. This is a very specific area as well. And it's not talked about very often in entrepreneurship, especially. I know that you're at a pivoting point, right, where you were just you were working very specifically with kind of everybody, but pivoting into just entrepreneurs. What has that looked like for you? Why did you make that change?
I noticed that I was working more with entrepreneurs, and I feel like entrepreneurs are very much ADHD because we have all the we're the multi-passionate ones who want to do this, want to do that, and have all these different ideas. And we're the ones who are trying to get it together and make it all fit. And those are the people who want the help. Not that most people don't want the help, but definitely entrepreneurs have that drive to like try to figure out like what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure I have a goal, I need to get to this goal, so I need to figure out my brain in order to get there.
Yeah.
So that's why I've kind of pivoted to ADHD entrepreneurs, because it's very like specific, and they know what their goal is, but it's really about calming it down in order to get there.
Yes. Yeah. And I know from my experience too, I'm relatively new in this entrepreneur journey, and I feel like I do all the things all the time, right? And that's like, it gets, first of all, that's the fastest way to get burnout and just be done.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the fastest way to lose track of yourself mentally, your mental wellness, because your attention can't be everywhere all at once, right?
Right.
As in we get so excited about our passions, we get so excited about all of these projects and these ideas, and when you're an entrepreneur, you're probably pretty creative, and so when you're a creative, things just kind of pop up and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, oh my gosh, I want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you add a family into it, or you add kids, and you add all the different responsibilities, and when you first become an entrepreneur, you still probably have a full-time job. So you also have to have those responsibilities on top of, well, I just want to go build a bookstore, or I just want to go be a coach online, or I just want to go do this. But I have all these other responsibilities, which, yes, we need to take care of, but you have to take care of yourself too. And you need to go for your goal, or you're always going to be miserable. And
Yeah.
that's just not a way to live.
Yes. So yes, you bring this clarity and this calm, right? And you work through, like when with your clients, you work through those mental barriers and the mental blocks that come into play. What kind of, in your experiences as with helping people, what kind of mental blocks are you seeing and those barriers?
So a lot of the barriers have to do with time blocking or time management. So trying to make sure that they have enough time. They they don't feel, the barrier is that they feel like there's not enough time, and there's not enough time in the day. And you can say all you want that there's 24 hours in a day and everybody has the same 24 hours, but yes, but everybody has different responsibilities and different things going on. So no, everybody doesn't have the same 24 hours. Like an entrepreneur with a dog has less, and without a full-time job has less responsibilities and more time to do what they need to do, as opposed to the entrepreneur with a full-time job, 3 dogs, 2 kids, and a husband, right? And I just described myself, but like everybody has the same 24 hours, but how you utilize it is really what we work on.
Right.
So the barrier is definitely the time management and figuring out how to get through that failure, the failure mentality. We call it RSD, so the rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And that basically means that if you do something wrong, it makes you feel awful. It makes you feel like a failure. It's not just like, oh, okay, I got this answer wrong on a test, and okay, well, I can just take the test, or I can just take the test again. If you have RSD and if you have ADHD, it feels like the end of the world. And it feels like you're never going to get it right. And you're never going to be able to get there. So really, so that's a huge barrier. So empowering people, empowering entrepreneurs, and getting through that mentality of the RSD. And you can do that through group coaching and group chats, right? Because then you start putting yourself around all these different people who have the same kind of experiences. But if you're alone by yourself, then you don't realize that. You think everybody's succeeding and you're not. So there's definitely a few different ways to get through that, but I would definitely say those are the 2 biggest barriers, would be the time management and the RSD.
Yeah. And I know in my experience, time management is hard for me, right? I have to actually sit down and figure out what I'm doing for 1 hour, and I have to stick to it, because what happens is I get going, I'll start on my social media work, and then 15-20 minutes in, I'm starting to schedule calls, like for sales calls or coaching calls or discovery calls, whatever it is. I'm not
Right.
focusing on my social media like I'm supposed to be. I'm now talking to my clients, which is supposed to be, something I do the next hour.
Right.
So and then I feel at the end of the day, what happens is I'll start to feel like, oh my God, I didn't get anything done. I might have booked 3 sales calls, but I didn't get my marketing done. And then I feel bad, right? And so it's important. And I think one of the things I've been seeing a lot of that seems to be having some traction is like block scheduling. Do you know about this?
Yeah, time blocking. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
can you give me some clarity on this? Because I think I'm doing it wrong.
Yes. So what do you think? So let's start there. What do you think it is?
Oh, just what I said. I'll put down and be like, from 8 to 9, I'm going to do social media marketing. And then I get distracted, I get veered off. And then also there are days where I don't want to get out of bed on time to sit down at my computer and actually do these things and focus on them. So there might be a couple issues going on here.
So when people say time blocks, they're talking about setting aside a group of time. So let's say they say anywhere between 2 and 5 hours. So let's say between the hours of 12 and 4, I have this chunk of time. And what do I want to get done during this chunk of time? So then you list out the things that you want to get done during this chunk of time, and that's your block. And some people even like to theme the blocks. So, for example, if 12 to 4, you only want to work on your social media, then that's your social media block. You might have a bunch of different things to do on social media that you can write out, but you have given yourself those 4 hours or however long you pick to do it. And that is your social media block for that day. And you don't have to do it every day, but when you have designated that chunk of time, then you will be more likely to get more done. And it's less restricting than the hourly, right? So if you get off track, then you can still come back because you had a chunk of time to do it. And you don't, and it makes it less likely to feel like a failure because then you know, oh, well, I've done this, this, and this. Wait, I can go take a shower because I'm almost done this list. And you still have that satisfaction of, no, I did what I needed to do because I had this chunk of time for it. I did it. I even got extra time to do stuff. So
Right.
that's essentially what time blocking is.
Yes. So, okay. So yes. When, so we talked a little bit about the RSD and that failure sense, right?
Yeah.
For people that you work with, what your vision and your mission is, you take people who are chronically chaotic, probably like myself, and then you turn them into magically successful, and you have a program for this. Like, you have legitimate steps. It's not, you guys are not just jumping on a call with Gloria and like getting hyped up and like leaving with nothing, right? There's a legitimate process to this. There's a legitimate like whole thing. So, and we have them, it's magic system, right?
Yep.
Okay, what does magic stand for?
All right. So MAGIC stands for managing your time, analyzing yourself, gamifying your goals, imagining your ideal life, and then creating your own strategy for success. So right now I am starting a 6-week program. And in that program, I'm offering 6 weeks. There's 5 letters in magic. So we'll go through all 5 of the letters and then at the end, putting it all together. But I'm also offering Voxer access during it because I want to make sure that no matter what comes out of it, you're getting your own individual plan. I don't know how many group programs I've been in or like classes I've been in that I'm like, well, that's great. Now I have to figure out, now it's going to take me more time to figure out how that works for me.
I've
And
had
that's
that same problem. Like, I take, and they're great classes or they're great, things. And I'm like, oh, wow, this information is really fascinating. It's very captivating. This is cool. How does this apply to me? And then like that's at the end. I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is good stuff. And then we get to the end and I'm like, what about me?
right. You're like, okay, now what? Like what's the point? So what I've been doing is, at least this week, and I'm going to be running the program again, but and I do this program individually too. So it doesn't have to be a group program. It could be one-on-one with me as well. But before we even get into the magic system, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have a coaching conversation with you. Number one, to know where you're coming from. Number two, to know what's going on in your life. Where are you struggling? What is your lifestyle like? Because the whole purpose is to figure out what time management strategy is going to work for you. I was actually talking to somebody earlier today about systems and processes, and I've tried lots and lots of systems and processes. And one of the things I've found is I cannot go off of a checklist, like a spreadsheet. Like, that does not work for me. And like, it makes me feel constricted. It makes me feel like there's no flow anywhere in my life. And it makes me feel very micromanaged. Like, even if I'm the one making the Excel spreadsheet, I still feel micromanaged. And I just can't do it. So but for some people, that's a management strategy. Some people work well on an hourly schedule. Well, what if I need to pee? Like, or like, what if I need to go take out the dogs? What if the dog throws up? What if the kid is sick? Like, then am I a failure for the whole day? Like, that doesn't work for me either. So like, what would work for me, right? So time blocking is a better option for me. Or some people only going off the Google Calendar, but then where's your to-dos in the Google Calendar? And there's different apps like Todoist and things like that. So, but there's so many different ways that we need to be able to hone in on where you are and where the people are in the group in order to even start, because you can go Google time management strategies, right? Like,
Right.
that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to actually make them work for you and figure out what's blocking you to get there. And that dives into like analyzing yourself and then making sure we have your ideal life like in the future. Like that starts before anything, because we have to have a goal that you want to get to, or else you're never going to get there. Like, what's the point? What's going to motivate you to get up every day and talk to a million people?
Right.
Right.
So perfect. So we talked about the management of the time, and then analyzing yourself goes into that, and being able to kind of recognize what works and what doesn't. And then G was gamifying
Your goals.
your goals. What does that look like? What does gamifying your goals mean?
So that means making it fun for you, making it enjoyable. So I know gamifying your goals to some people are like, well, I don't think my goals are a game. No, they're not. It just means what is going to make this bearable for you, because we as humans don't want to do shit that, sorry.
No, you're
We don't want to do stuff that we don't want to, that we don't enjoy.
right.
So what's going to make me do it? Like, what is going to make this fun? Well, that could look like setting a timer and trying to beat the timer. That could look like getting a reward for just getting it done, and not necessarily a monetary reward, right? That could look like taking a 5-minute or a 10-minute bath, like, or going somewhere that you enjoy, that will be good for you as your break, like your reward break. Like, what are you tying to getting this done? Because it's too far away. Like when you have a goal of like a $10,000 month, right? It's going to be really hard to motivate yourself to get there every day, because
it seems so distant.
Right.
Yeah.
So so we got to break it down into smaller chunks. And how am I going to enjoy my day to day?
Yes. And I was just talking to a coaching client of mine, and I was telling her, hey, I want you to reach out to 10 people this week and make an offer. 10 people, make an offer. I said, it might go good, it might go bad, but it's got to get done. You got to practice being confident and being yourself and knowing your worth. You've got to do that by practicing it. It doesn't just come to you. And I told her, I said, so every time you finish making an offer, I don't care what they say, go do something to congratulate yourself for even just doing it. Like, even if it's a no, hell yes, girl, you did it. You offered your offer. Like, that is amazing. It takes a lot of balls, right? Sometimes, I mean, and some of these women that we see in the online space, they've got high ticket offers, right? And it requires some confidence and some chutzpah, you know, to be able to say, hey, I've got a $6,500 program for you, and you know, all that. And so even if you get a no, just rewarding yourself for doing the thing, right? And I do this with myself. I know this is going to sound kind of silly, but I do this with myself. If I work consistently for about an hour, I give myself 15, 20 minutes to just walk around the house or do whatever. Like I give myself breaks in between stuff because I
Yeah.
can't sit for 8 hours at the desk. Nobody can.
No.
And I can't be on Zoom for 8 hours in a row, right? I can't do it. I'll get so exhausted. I'm like, oh, I need a coffee. Like, but it's rewarding for me. I get a 15, 20-minute break and hang out with my kiddo and check on him, play a game or two, like, just hang out. Then it doesn't make me feel like my work day is all work and no play, right?
And that's awful. And nobody becomes an entrepreneur to work 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah,
So,
we all want more time to do the things we actually want to do.
right.
And yeah, we want to build our business, but we also want to spend time with our families. We also want to go outside in nature. We also want to take that vacation. We also, we want to be able to do those things, right? It's a little bit of a freedom.
Right. And you get to decide that. So why not make it enjoyable for you while you're in the journey, right? So
Perfect.
that's really what that's about. Yeah.
And then
Imagining your ideal life. So we talked about that a little bit. So just having that goal as a motivation, like where you want to go, because you could probably start doing some of the goals that you have right now, or not the goals, you can start utilizing parts of your ideal life now. So if you want to be able to get out in nature every day, well, damn it, go out in nature every day. Like, make sure you're getting out there. You want to go to the beach, move near a beach, or make it so you're going to a beach. So that will also help you enjoy the journey. Like, I don't think you're finding out what makes you tick. I had dinner or coffee last night with a friend, and I was like, what do you enjoy doing? Like, she just had a baby like 6 or 7 months ago. And I was like, what do you enjoy doing? And she couldn't answer me. And so then as we were talking, like I would find things that she would be like, oh yeah, I really like doing this or going out to restaurants. And she told me like 5 different restaurants. I'm like, right, because you enjoy going to nicer restaurants for the ambiance, for the experience. And she was like, oh yeah, I guess I do. Right. So you need to recognize that you enjoy doing that and do more of it, because that's the whole purpose.
And I think a lot of times we make up excuses as to why we're not doing those things.
Yep.
Right? We all have a container of excuses that we use all the time. Like,
Okay.
oh, I didn't put on any hair and makeup today. I'm not gonna go. Oh, I just I don't have time today. But you need to make the time, right? Time is just an excuse.
Right.
And it's just silly, and sometimes it's so silly, like like and this one goes one of two ways. So this one can go two ways. When you are making an excuse to not go to like an event or a party, but like you've always had a good time, you always leave in a great mood, you're always so happy you went, but yet you always say, oh, I don't feel like being social. You don't feel like being social right now. That might be true, but it's probably those times when you don't feel like being social, you might need to tell somebody or talk to somebody. You might need to be social and get that out of you, right? So, and it's important to analyze those things and do the things that make you happy. And then which one is C again?
Creating your own strategies for success. So that's starting to bring it together and really dive into, okay, what strategy works for me and what am I going to add into my life in order to go for that goal.
Right.
Right.
So you're taking
So,
elements of M, A, G, and I, and then
yep,
bringing them full circle, right?
exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So for the women in the audience, and we had a really long conversation about this, how do we know if we're ADHD? Because some of us like probably feel like we are, but we're not diagnosed.
Most people aren't, to be totally honest. Most, especially women, most women aren't. I wasn't diagnosed ADHD until I was 35. And it's because I was seeing my son's psychiatrist, and my son, who's now 10, he was what, 2 years ago, so eight at the time, 7 or 8. And she was like, yeah, you might have a little bit of that, it's genetic. And I'm sitting there like, yes, that would have been nice to know a year ago, after we started me on anxiety and depression meds for a year, and none of them worked. Right.
Yes.
So that's a big indicator. Like, if you're on depression meds or anxiety meds and nothing seems to be working, there is a very good chance there is something else wrong. Because what was happening with me was like my brain was everywhere. There were thoughts and things going on, and I just couldn't. And with COVID, it was November, and COVID started in March. So by November, I was like, I was done. I was losing it. And I was like, well, and I was on medication. So I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I was like, I just still don't feel right. And that was the first sign. Like, okay, you have ADHD. Now, that's not to say you having ADHD means you need to be on medication. Absolutely not. Like, I just got off of a year of medication that did not work for me at all, and I couldn't multitask for the life of me. And as you know, if you can't multitask, or you can't do all the things, like, with they're coming at you, and you've been doing that for 35 years, like, that's a problem. So like, everything plummets. But other people who don't have lives like that, they might find medication really helpful because they can't focus, right?
Right.
So it really depends. And whether you're ADHD or not, if you're if you're overwhelmed, if you're scatterbrained, you always feel like you have a million things going on in your head and you can't focus. Like, I could never focus sitting in a church, like watching a sermon, right? Or in a classroom with in a college classroom with somebody just talking at me. I always had to be doing something. And looking back at that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I was never called out on it because I passed my classes, not with A's, but I passed, right? So you just don't think about it.
And women in particular, we always have a lot of stuff going on. We just do. We always have a social life. We have the husband, the boyfriend, the partner. We have the kids. We have our side projects that we do. We have the house. We have the gardening that we're getting excited about because it is spring where I am. So now I've got this other project that I'm ready to start.
Yeah.
But we're women, so we do all of these things every single day. And it's kind of just normal for us to run around like chickens with our heads cut off, right? It's like the social norm. But it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to feel like that.
Right.
You can still do a ton of stuff. You can still do a lot in one day, but it doesn't have to feel like the most exhausting, dreadful, like just like lopping into bed at the end of the day, like, oh my God, thank God today's over. Like, it doesn't have to feel like that, right?
Right. And making your time work for you. Like, you don't have to be the one reminding everybody to do everything. Like, we have Alexas to do that, or we have like alarms to do that. And we have whiteboards to do that. So like, those kind of strategies, that people just don't think about because you're in the depths of it. Like just something to take it off your plate so you can focus on really what you want to focus on.
Yeah. And in business particularly, I know in the beginning stages, it is really hard to give your work to somebody else to do. Like for me, I first and foremost, I started off being a social media marketer, right? I went and got certified. I did all those things. So now I'm at a place where I need to give up doing that kind of stuff so I can focus on my clients, because now I'm ready to work on my business and not in my business, right?
Correct.
And that's so sometimes it's hard to give up that attachment that we have to those things.
Yeah.
But delegating that stuff out is not just, it's going to simplify your life, but it's also going to make you feel like you're not doing it by yourself, because you actually have a team. They see
Right.
your vision, they see your mission, they want to help you.
Yeah.
Let them help you. Right?
Exactly. I haven't gotten to the point with a VA yet, but the best advice that I've heard about that is while you are setting up your systems and like while you're working in your business and like starting to set up those systems, set them up with the frame of mind, like, how can I give this to somebody else? So that could mean writing your posts out and keeping them on a separate spreadsheet or a separate piece of paper or a separate document that says this was my post and these were my hashtags. Right? So so then when you do get a VA, you don't have to go back and copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. It's already done because you've already written it. So if you ever want to hire somebody to and be like, write like me, I want another post like this, then you don't have to go back and do all that crap again.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So for everybody watching, Gloria hosts weekly planning sessions and they're free. You don't have to pay for this, right? What does your weekly planning session look like?
So it's really a co-working session for planning. So based or body doubling, if you've ever heard of that, that's a big phrase in the ADHD world. So basically it's coming together, taking the time to quietly plan your week together. And I give a formula at the beginning and I say, hey, you can use this if you would like. If you have your own way to plan, you can plan. If you have any questions or you get stuck, then I'm there, the group's there. You can message me privately through Zoom, or if you have a question for the group, you can say it out loud. And it's really to be intentional on planning your week. Because, and to be honest, I started it because I needed to plan my week. Like I need to plan my week every week.
I'm the same way. Otherwise, I'm frantically scribbling in my planner all week long.
Right.
Like nothing is set in stone, and I'm constantly like scratching stuff out and changing what I did.
Right.
Because I didn't do this, instead I did this. And you know what I mean? So this actually sounds like it could really help me. So I will see you there.
Yes, I'm doing it on Sunday.
But and when you're intentional with your week, your odds of getting shit done increase dramatically, right?
Right. And if it wasn't important at the beginning of the week, then most likely if it comes up in the middle of the week, it's probably not as important as you think it is, right? So one thing that I heard Kara Harvey from the Purpose Driven Mom say was she has a thought catcher time. So anytime that something else comes up in the middle of the week that she hasn't planned for, like let's say she had used the example like her son needed deodorant or your husband needs deodorant or somebody needed something. And normally it would be you going and getting it because you have the time to go and get it, right? But no, you can say, no, that's not planned. I can get it on Friday because that's when I'm going to do those errands, or that's my thought catcher time, and I'll deal with that then. But I'm not going to stop what I'm doing just to take care of your deodorant because it wasn't a priority at the beginning of the week and it's not a priority for me now.
Yes.
Right.
And this happens in business. This happens when people want to collaborate with you a lot. I've noticed, like, when people want to collaborate, they want you to set the schedule like right then and there. Like they get real excited and they're like, let's get on my calendar, set, do the link, sign up, da da da. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I got to do this first. I've got 10 conversations happening at the same time. And then suddenly now there's a new project in one of those conversations. I'm like, oh God, okay, yeah, I won't forget. No,
Right.
And I'm like, but it's okay to politely tell people, especially in the entrepreneur world, hey, this sounds awesome. I'm really excited about it too. Give me some time. I will check my schedule and let me get back to you. You run your business, nobody else, right? And so if you've got other pressing business tasks, it's okay. Like it's going to be fine. You can get to them on Saturday.
And if people forget, which happens, then if it was really that important to the other person, they'll contact you back.
Yes.
Right? Like,
absolutely. Everybody's got 100,000 things going on. All entrepreneurs do. We all do this, and we're all guilty of forgetting stuff, right?
yeah.
But what's meant to be finds a way, and time can be made, time can be set aside, but you don't have to drop what you're doing to move the needle just to accommodate somebody else's schedule, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that's an important takeaway, I think, for a lot of the ladies watching. So you have a website now, and what is it? It's
www.myadhdmombrain.com.
My ADHD mom brain. It's rolling here at the bottom. I'm gonna get that put in there for us. And then also for you guys, get a hold of her on Instagram. She's Gloria _Starr _, right? Yep. And she's super active on there. She's super active on Facebook. If you have questions, if you want to do the weekly planning session, if you want to get in on this group coaching stuff, I know she's going to open that up again. So just send your questions her way. She will be more than happy to talk to you. She's awesome to talk to. I talk to her every Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you so much. You have been an awesome guest.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate this. And this was really fun.
Super fun. All right, you guys, we will see you on the next one.